Friday, time for some overreactions with Dan Graziano. So, Graz, after the big deal the other day, on a football Friday, time for some overreactions with Dan Graziano. So, Graz, after the big deal the other day, if people said Stefon Diggs is going to be the best receiver on the Texans, is that an overreaction?
No, I don't think it's an overreaction. The Texans have a couple great young receivers in Nico Collins and Tank Dell, but Diggs is going to fill a different role for them. And given his track record, the likelihood that they're going to get a highly motivated player in what's now the final year of his contract, and his ability to run routes, I think he'll be their top receiver.
Okay, fair enough. So then let's talk more about that team, because they have a lot of receivers and the great young quarterback and all the additions. If I said the Texans are the best NFL team in the state of Texas, is that an overreaction?
Yes, it's an overreaction. The other team in Texas, we know, flops in the playoffs. We all know about that, but they have won 12 games each of the last 3 years. The Dallas Cowboys will still be a good team, and the Houston Texans, I think, look like they're going to be a good team, but let's see it. Progress is not always linear, Greeny. Like we expect a big jump from the Texans, but we've seen teams go the other direction when we thought they were going to go forward. Think how confident we were a year ago that Jacksonville was clearly the best team in that division.
That's a very interesting take, and I'm glad you said that, because I don't agree with it, but I'm glad it was said. In the meantime, if we said the Bills, despite trading away Stefon Diggs, are still the team to beat in that division, is that an overreaction?
No, it's not an overreaction. They've won it 4 years in a row. I mean, they have shown an ability to do it. They were dead in the water midway through this past season. They still managed to recover, catch the Miami Dolphins, and make it as far as the second round of the playoffs. I'm a big one for, you got to show me for me to believe it. I think the Buffalo Bills have proven they can win. I think there's still plenty of enough good players left on that roster. I think it's a massive mistake to rule them out, especially over teams that we haven't seen do it yet.
Okay, so I've got to this just has to be said here, okay? I had to wait out Brady, right? I mean, 20 years of Brady in the division I had to wait out. Then he goes, we get Josh Allen right away. Yeah. We can't have one down year in Buffalo. We can't have one rebuilding year in Buffalo. He still has to be the team to beat.
It happened.
Do you guys agree? Can we put the picks on the screen? I asked everybody who's going to win the AFC East.
You're not going to like it.
Oh, my God. I need an intervention here. I need something to make this feel better. Alan Hahn, get over here.
What is going on here?
Exactly right.
Well, we can't cut it live, so never mind. Let's bring this in here.
Alan, come on.
Let's bring some sense to the conversation,
sense
please.
To this ridiculously ill-informed group. Cindy, update the picks. I want the picks updated.
Add me, please.
Yes, please. Add Alan. That's it. Okay, much better.
Okay.
Now make your point.
A couple of things. First of all, ESPN Bet is even on this side now, as the Jets are now plus 225, right?
The Jets are the favorites.
Moving up. They're not the favorites, but moving up even closer.
We're getting closer.
It did not start that way, number one. Number two, even the football gods have to know that what happened 4 plays into last season cannot have, you have to have redemption for that. Even the football gods believe that something like this have to happen.
Why they do it in the first place.
But overall, I understand the hesitancy to want to believe in the Jets. I get it. The history tells you that something always goes wrong.
Yeah.
But my good friend Rick DiPietro always says, winning is the best deodorant.
Right.
And so right now, we need to spray Axe all over this jersey.
All over
make it smell really nice.
Right.
Winning will do that.
That's
Him
right.
being upright will do that.
Right.
The Jets win, he'll be MVP. If he plays like an MVP, the Jets will win. This division is theirs.
That's exactly right. And look, people can take all the shots they want at Aaron Rodgers. It doesn't bother him because we know he doesn't take shots. So that's not an issue whatsoever for Aaron. So that's not going to be a problem. Dominique Foxworth, talk to me. Why do you still have the Bills beating the loaded Jets who have gone all in for one season when the Bills just traded away what might have been their second best player?
I think the Jets have a lot of proving to do, and they have a lot of older players that need to stay healthy. And if you're expecting Aaron Rodgers to play like an MVP, if that's what you need for them to have success, then you're going to be in trouble. So I think their roster is good. They're impressive. We want to see them actually do it. The difference between them and the Bills is what I saw the Bills coaching staff and the Bills players do last year in season. They were losing players left and right on defense. They were changing the way that they play on offense. And they still came back and got into the playoffs and played good enough to win a game in the playoffs against the eventual Super Bowl champions. That's the type of coaching. That's the type of adaptation. That's the type of commitment and execution and focus that we've seen from the Josh Allen, Sean McDermott-led Bills. We ain't seen that from the Jets. That defense has been really good in back-to-back seasons, and they haven't had much success as a team. So it's not that they can't do it. If Tyron Smith stays healthy, they'll be great. If Aaron Rodgers stays healthy and can play as well as he did 3 years ago, they'll be great. Those are ifs. I don't have ifs for the Bills. My if is Josh Allen going to be there? Yeah. Is Sean McDermott going to be there? Yeah. We good?
There are a lot of ifs. First of all, every team has injury concerns. Every team does. Who's the playmaker? Your quarterback. You have any other playmakers? No. Like, that's the big if is, will Josh Allen stay healthy this season? Because he's going to have to run the ball more than they don't want him to. He's going to have to do so much more for this team without real playmakers on that offense. Yeah, there's still more time. But look, even Brandon Beane said we are not as good as we were last season. That roster is not the same. And we aren't even talking about the secondary that is not as good as it was.
Go ahead, Nate.
Fortunately, they don't have to play a game tomorrow. They will be as good when they actually have to start playing games. This is a front office and a staff that have earned our trust.
No,
and the answer to these ifs, we have answers to the ifs.
Yeah, if they make a trade for someone, that's an if too, Nate.
Right. If people get hurt, you know what the Bills do? They come up and rip off a winning streak and make the playoffs. If people get hurt for the Jets, you know what they did? They lost a bunch of games. So, I have answers to these ifs in Buffalo. I don't have answers for these ifs for the Jets.
Yeah, let me get Tannenbaum in here, Mike. And by the way, Nick, you fell right into our trap. The Jets are always at their best when they're not playing games. So don't you fell right into my trap there. This is my time of year. Don't mess around. Mike Tannenbaum, go.
Two quick points. One, sneaky big news, Greeny. Matt Milano played in 5 games last year. Von Miller had no sacks. Their defense will be better because those 2 players will be better. And then Alan mentioned ESPN Bet. What are the odds that Aaron Rodgers, Mike Williams, and Tyron Smith play in 17 games each? Because if they do, I'm 100% in on the Jets. But I'd love to know what the odds are that those 3 players play the whole season.
Have I won you over? Anything?
No, I'm on Dominique Foxworth's side. That's why I subscribe to his podcast.
That's always a dangerous place to be.
Telling me right now. Telling me right now.
Look at me, I'm handsome, fast, quick. Doesn't take much for me to, I'm modest, humble, Doesn't take much for me to be confident.
All right, for today's unique perspective, Dominique, I was paying attention to that fancy podcast of yours, and I was listening to a conversation you were having about quarterbacks in the draft and how we're all making too big a deal about them and not a big enough deal about one other player. I want everyone to listen to this.
Marvin Harrison is so damn good and so potentially impactful as a player. I believe that he could have the impact on a team that a number 1 quarterback could have. We always talk about winning a Super Bowl is easier when you have a quarterback on a rookie deal. I think that's true, but I also think it's pretty easy when you have a future Hall of Famer on a rookie deal and a future Hall of Famer at a very important position.
All right, explain that a little further, Dominique. You're basically saying that these teams that we keep talking about, they'll trade back so that someone can come up and get a quarterback, that they shouldn't do it.
Yeah, I think that, first of all, the set is beautiful and the podcast is amazing. Everyone should watch it and download it, rate and review, all that stuff. But I do think that when you look at the history of the league, if you can get an all-time great player at a rookie price, then you're going to improve. I think back to Randy Moss. The Vikings went from 9-7 to 15-1, and Dante Culpepper was balling because Randy Moss showed up. Another player that jumps to mind is J.J. Watt. They went from 6-10 to 10-6 because of J.J. Watt. But I think the perfect example of this is Von Miller. When Von Miller landed in Denver,